Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Just Tap Tasting, where we taste some beers here at the Wilkie that we just tapped. And we just tapped a bunch of really cool beers from a new brewery over in Bushwick from KCBC, and that's why we got Zack here on the show. Zack, welcome to the show. Why don't you tell the viewers, audience, we don't really have a name for them yet. This is kind of a new show. Just a little bit about KCBC, who you are, what your role is in all of that action and the new beer over at KCBC.
Excellent. Yeah. No, thanks for having me, Mark.
Yeah.
Kings County Brewers Collective, KCBC. We are a brand new production brewery and tap room opening in Bushwick, which is a neighborhood in Brooklyn. Used to be a very prominent brewing neighborhood in back in the olden days.
Right. There was do you know how many?
I don't know, man. I've seen statistics like in the high 80s, 90s.
Yeah, right. I haven't heard the exact numbers, but I've always heard that Bushwick was the place for brewing beer. So it's nice to see that it's kind of surging up again.
Yeah, it's finally coming back. I mean, I think the last brewery in Bushwick shut down about 40 years ago.
Right.
So we're making the first commercial beer in Bushwick in 40 years.
That's really awesome. That's a pretty. It's like restaking the Brewers flag in Bushwick.
Exactly.
But there's
a mash paddle flag.
Right. There's a bunch of breweries coming behind you, but it's pretty cool to be the first.
We won't be the
Something
last.
special about that.
I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
No, it's a cool neighborhood. It's very industrial, and we've got a warehouse space about 5,000 square feet.
It's a good size.
Yeah, it's
especially for New York standards.
Yeah, you kind of. I think there's two options really in production brewing. You can either start really small, nano brewery, and I know some people who've done that, and if you really are able to put in the blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
At that scale, my hat is off to you.
Right. I agree with your approach more. You could have a little bit more wiggle room.
We started a little bigger.
Right.
But our kind of story is, so there's three of us, myself and my two partners, Tony and Pete. We all have been in and around the brewing scene here in New York for a while. I got into home brewing. We all started as home brewers and then kind of got more and more involved professionally. Went to brewing school at the American Brewers Guild in Vermont. Pete started brewing initially. He had an internship at Brooklyn Brewery, went to Kelso, went back to Brooklyn, went to Finback, brewed there for a while.
That's awesome. Been around a little bit. Yeah, that's cool.
And Tony was the head brewer at Kelso as well.
Yeah, and Kelso and Brooklyn Brewery. I'm from Chicago, so they kind of remind me of kind of what Goose Island did for commercial brewers, which is it's kind of like a breeding ground.
Oh yeah, no, the number of brewers that have come out of Kelso in particular, or as it's known, Greenpoint Beer Works. It's not in Greenpoint; it's one of those anachronisms. But so many different breweries in New York all had their owners or brewers start and go through that place.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, we're super excited to have you. I hear you guys are opening a tap room soon as well.
Imminent. We are very, very close.
That's awesome.
Crossing all the T's, dotting the I's for some final steps, and the tap room is going to be open very soon. About 1,000 square feet.
Right.
It should be really cool. Come drink the beer fresh from the source.
Yeah, probably maybe the best way to find out when that's up and running for sure for all you guys to go check it out is maybe Instagram.
We'll
just link the Instagram up on the show here, and connect with these guys. They are active on Instagram, as are we. You should follow us. You should follow us both. Yeah, it'd be great.
Awesome.
And you'll have a lot of fun there. Instagram's a cool place to have fun.
It is.
But even more fun than that is drinking beer.
Right.
And we have a beer, obviously, from KCBC today. Today, it is going to be the Dangerous Precedent. And, obviously, normally I would talk about this beer, but this is actually his recipe.
This is. One of the things that we're doing at KCBC is because we all are brewers by sort of like, our origins, we all try to rotate recipe design, and this is an IPA recipe that I really, really fell in love with, and it's our first kind of like mainstream IPA.
Yeah, and it is landing super well. I mean, I've even had the competition from big distributors, say, have you tried this beer yet? And I said no, but we're tapping it for this event that we did a couple days ago here, and he said it was outstanding, and I totally agree. It's a little bit of a like West Coast meets East Coast kind of vibe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm originally from Washington State, north of Yakima
so that makes
Valley,
sense.
So, I love
Yakima Valley is a hop region.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when you say West Coast hops, Pacific Northwest, all that stuff.
A lot of them come from Yakima Valley.
Yakima Valley is a special place for that. Yeah,
And one
so
of the
that's
hops
cool.
in this beer is Cascade, so it's that classic,
Yeah.
one of the original, sort of, American new hop varieties. So it's got that grapefruit character. But we're not going too heavy on the bitterness. We kind of, we've been really loving some of these Northeast IPAs. From
Right,
breweries.
it's kind of a new style that maybe came up, I don't know, maybe
talk
you know
about-
better than I, but Vermont?
Vermont would probably be the origins.
Vermont?
You talk about
You went to
breweries
brewing school there,
yeah,
though, so that makes sense.
The Alchemist, Heady Topper,
Yeah.
Hill Farmstead.
Right,
But
right.
now you have people like Treehouse and even other half here in the city. They're really loading up these juicy tropical hop flavors, and I love that. Love that flavor in an IPA.
Absolutely, yeah, and then also a lot of them tend to be like much more cloudy, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So, I mean, taking a look at
Yeah,
this
it's
one
got
here.
a nice pleasant haze. It's not like a smoothie, but it's
Right. But yeah, it is. I mean, kind of copper orange in color, and then it's but that's kind of, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. You're the expert here. That's kind of a calling card to these East Coast. A lot of them have
Absolutely.
more of that cloudy haze to it, right?
Yeah, and it's turning out that rather than that being a deterrent for drinkers, people are seeing that as a positive factor.
Right. Well, yeah, and as the craft beer and culture develops, here in New York and just around, I think that some of those things, before it was seen as like, oh, what's up with
What's
your beer?
wrong with your beer?
That,
Yeah,
that shit looks dirty.
Yeah.
No
way.
But now it's intentional, obviously, and the beer drinker at all different levels are starting to understand. It's it's going to give it more depth of flavor, right? Because
absolutely.
that cloud it's coming from somewhere.
It's hops, it's yeast. I mean,
Yeah.
we have a little bit of wheat in this recipe as well. So
Oh,
that
cool.
adds to the kind of gives it a little bit of that extra.
Right, and that also makes it a little bit more approachable. And we're going to get into tasting in a little bit here because that's what we're here to do. But I can, it's interesting that you say there's wheat in this because it does. It's like on the palate, it's very approachable, and I find
softness
that
and
wheat
kind of-
tends to round and soften things up.
Absolutely agree.
Cool. Well, let's go into the nose here and see what we're getting aroma-wise. I mean, tropical fruit for sure, which is more indicative of East Coast styles.
Yeah, and just new hops in general.
Yeah.
I mean, this has got, so along with Cascade, it's got two other hops that I love, Mosaic and Azacca. And, Azacca for me was a new discovery. I've used Mosaic before.
Yeah,
But
I mean, how new is Azacca? Because I know like founders, I came, from the Midwest before coming here to open up the Wilkie, and Azacca just started showing up as like a mainstream where brewers are actually like single hopping beers with Azacca.
it's within the last year, I want to say.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It's got a cool, it's very in that line of the Citra,
Right.
kind of hops where
Sure.
you've got some mango and I don't know, interesting tropical fruit flavors, pineapple.
I agree. Yeah, there's
cool.
and then Mosaic, that's a big one in IPAs. It's kind of like I don't know, people like even the beer nerds love the Mosaic hops.
You can't really go wrong with Mosaic.
No,
I'm
you
sorry.
can't.
It's almost like a cheater hop. And it's
Yeah, right. It does. It
Mosaic
just,
and Citra kind of
Mosaic
it's
equals magic almost.
Yeah, it's all for me. I think it's got so many layers of flavor there. It's got a little of that classic pine, but it's got some darker fruits and berries, and then again with the kind of peachy, almost apricot flavors too. So.
Right. And so a lot of those fruit notes are showing up on the nose. Obviously, you get a little bit of you can smell just more of the piney or resin kind of hop aroma from that West Coast side of things, but it's dominant on the fruit side.
Yeah,
Let's go in for the taste. Cheers, man.
Cheers, man. Thanks, man.
Oh yeah, this beer is just fantastic. I get like tropical fruits. I think you guys call them out as like stone fruits a little bit, but like orangey, kind of like
orangey,
candy, tangerine.
Yeah.
Tangerine is more of that sweeter kind of orange vibe for sure. And it's just delicious. And then you get a little refreshing bitterness, and the wheat just kind of rounds it out. And this is not one of those IPAs that you sit there and you're like, all right, cool, I'm gonna leave that there for a second because I need to calm down a little bit. I just want to consume the rest of it right now.
Yeah, it's pretty drinkable.
Yeah.
It's 6.6%, so it's also, we try and keep it in that range where, you can have a couple and still,
still carry on conversation.
Exactly.
Right.
It's
on the
important.
show here, that is important. We need to be able to keep it together.
Try.
Yeah, sometimes it gets a little out of hand, but not with this beer, which is good. Well, it's awesome, man. This is just one of many beers that they're making. I think you got 7 on the docket
7
right
on
now.
the market right now. We got a couple more
Which
coming.
is pretty quick. How long have you guys been making beer?
We started just
a month yet?
this summer, you know, so June, July, end of June was our first batch brew. So we're about a little less than 2 months in, and
Cool.
you know, cranking them out.
Yeah, it's awesome. You guys are doing a great job. I can't wait to come check you guys out at the tap room to pour some more of your beer here at the Wilkie, and then. But before we do that, before we let you go and go flood the market to get some KCBC beer here at the Wilkie and just all over, follow them on Instagram. You'll know where they're pouring.
KCBC beer. It's
There
our
you go.
hashtag and
Boom.
our handle.
Simple, keeping it classy. So we're gonna do question of the day.
Oh yeah.
Got a question for you. I'm gonna flip it to Zach for the question.
So I was down in Six Point, another brewery here in Brooklyn this morning, making a beer with them for a collaboration, and we were drinking beer, you know, for breakfast, and it got me thinking.
I mean, that's what brewers do.
It's my job. So I would love to know from you, what's your favorite breakfast beer?
Oh, that is outstanding.
You know, what is
that may
it?
be the best
I don't know.
question, and I usually ask some pretty good ones, but that's really good.
What do you like in the beer genre?
Right.
You know, in the morning.
You know, and that's interesting that you asked that question. Answer in the comments below, of course. We're gonna get in there and interact and see what you're doing. Are you putting beer in your cereal? You getting
Could
weird
be.
like that?
Could do.
And what's your favorite cereal beer?
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's sub question
I
of
don't
the day.
Right. What's the best beer cereal combination?
Right. I want some study. I want some videos. Maybe hit us up on Snapchat of your creation at the Wilkie Bar.
Pouring it onto those Cheerio Fruit Loop, whatever it is, you know.
That would be so good. I think this is going to be great. We're gonna learn a whole new. You know, even Untapped has a badge for drinking beers before like 10 a.m. or some shit.
There we go. I probably have.
You probably have that badge. Yeah. Untapped, if you don't know, is a really cool app for just it's kind of like Foursquare or Check-in, whatever. If you don't know what Foursquare, if you're too young or something, for beer. You can check in beers. You know, it's kind of a social network for beers, and so you can check that out. Maybe get while you're finding out what your favorite breakfast beer is. You can get that badge.
Sure, man.
Cool. Well, thanks again for being on the show.
Hey, thank you, Brian.
Cheers to you and many successes.
Right on.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. You're probably watching it one of two ways, either on YouTube, and if you are, thank you so much. Go ahead and click the subscribe button and look in the links below for what's on tap right now. You might be watching on Facebook. Awesome. Facebook's a wonderful place. If you could go ahead and click the share button down below, share it with your friends, and keep coming back every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for new episodes of Just Tap Tasting, where we talk about all the deliciousness that we've tapped.